In this video, I'm going to share one big mistake I see with people working with data: not exploring it. Stick with me. I know that sounds pretty obvious. How on earth do you expect to have accurate reports and models that are actually rooted in reality if you're not sure what's under the surface of your data? So grab a cup of coffee and let's chat. Of course, if you're trying to throw in some fancy predictive analytics, this becomes way more important. But if you haven't pulled out a simple bar chart or a line graph or something about the data that you're trying to use, you're messing up. Not having a handle of the data is bad. But how bad? Well, that depends on what you're trying to do and how well do you actually know the data set that you're trying to work with. Are you looking into metrics maybe that you want to hold your staff accountable with? Maybe it's going to become a scorecard value for your staff. A good rule of thumb here is if you're holding your staff's feet to the fire on a number, you want to make sure it's solid. So it's very important that you look at your underlying data before you start putting together actual targets for somebody to reach. You want to understand the outliers, your data quality, and definitely that historical performance over time before you start holding someone accountable to those numbers. Do you just need to do a quick check? Let's say you're very familiar with a data set that you use every day. Chances are a quick check on something doesn't mean that you need to explore data in great detail. You do it day to day by interacting with those numbers. So let's say you have a car wash and it looks like the volume's a little light for the day and you're considering maybe letting some of your staff go home. You go do a quick check to see what the performance for the day is compared to the same day a week at another point in time, and you can make that decision. The key here is it's not really a high value decision, and that's another rule of thumb that will help you from overanalyzing or underanalyzing. What's at stake here? Is this a high impact thing, or does it have more of a short-term impact? Short-term impact, you can probably get away with a little bit less exploring that data, particularly if you know that data set well. We've got some incredible tools that put statistics, machine learning, data science, whatever buzzword you want to use, at the fingertips of a lot of people. It's incredible to be right here, right now. But these tools make decisions for you that you don't even know that they're making if you're not aware of what the tool is doing for you. So there are some that will just throw out your null values. So that basically means it's throwing out records willy-nilly. And that might be the appropriate case, but you kind of want to know that. So essentially, you want to know what's going on in that data. Many times, I actually prefer to explore the data in more detail for these kind of situations. The tool that you're using makes decisions for you if you don't make the decision for it. You're going to use it, whether that's a good idea or not. An example I have is I went into a project, there was already some modeling done on it. 10% of the records that went into that model were for people over 140 years old. They weren't. So it was really just a data quality issue, and age was a variable very important to that model. But it was bad data for over 10% of it, and they weren't aware of what that model was doing. Whatever tool you're using doesn't recognize that 140 years old is a ridiculous age. That's where that massage from a human needs to come in. The only way you can do that is through exploring your data. I'm getting ready to dive in to exactly what it means to have more or less of this data exploration. I want to help you navigate this data mistake. But as I do this, in the comments below, let me know if you need more detail or walkthrough on this. It's very nuanced, so I definitely want to hear where you're at. These videos are literally for you. So don't hesitate to just pop in the comments and let me know what you need. So when I say it's very important or less important to do a lot or a little of this exploratory data analysis, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? If you don't need a lot of exploration, so one of those times when you're very familiar with the data set, you can always just throw something simple together, like an average, and just kind of understanding the range of your data, so like the minimum and the max values of the thing that you're looking at. If you prefer visuals, a quick bar chart, histogram, or dot plot could be helpful. If nothing else, it gives you a little bit of peace of mind to make sure the data is as expected, even if you're familiar with the data set. Something to keep in mind is to make sure that if it's a high value or high touch, like it impacts a big customer base or a good chunk of your staff, you're going to want to spend more time with exploring your data. Think about it. Your staff, your customers, if there's a lot at stake for them, it can be dicey. You don't want to play around with that. So if you're trying to do things like forecast on something, you want to make sure that what you have underlying is accurate, or you're going to have a bad forecast, which means you're going to continue over and over to suffer that bad data. It's going to cost you. So when you're looking at these metrics, maybe it's the average and that range again with the minimum and the maximums. Do you see outliers? And some of this stuff you can just pull the numbers on, and some of the stuff you're going to actually need to see charts on. If you're looking to throw things into a model and it's 30 variables, you'll probably benefit from charts more to avoid some fatigue in looking at this information, but it's still critically important. If you're doing full-on data modeling, you'll also want to look at how each variable relates to each other. So you'll look at each one of the variables that you're looking at compared to each other, in addition to looking at how it relates to the target variable. So the variable that you want to look at in detail. And think of scatter plots and correlation matrices. If you found value in this video, give it a like. This video is part of a series I'm putting together regarding data mistakes that I see way too often. If you want to check that out, I'll link the playlist here. Your data will thank you. I want this channel to be more like a chat about data over coffee. So by all means, please leave comments below to let me know what's on your mind and what questions you have about this or anything data related, really. And don't forget to subscribe to be notified when more chats are out.